African Ministers of Trade and Industry for a 2-day event in this hotel. You will recall, for the past 2 days, the ECOWAS Commission has been having the express meeting. And what we intend doing within these 2 days is to make sure we bring all the issues, and I'm going to leave the issues with the ECOWAS Commission to bring us up to speed on all the issues that we want to discuss to make sure that we increase our bilateral trade among our ECOWAS sub-region. But as the host country, on behalf of the government and my Honorable Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejare, we would like to welcome all our visitors to the shore of Ghana. These 2 days, we want to prove to the rest of our sister countries that Ghana is still the gateway for business in the West Africa sub-region. On this occasion, we will also want to inform you, the press, that a number of activities, as I've said, the ECOWAS Commission will take us through all the details, will be lined up. But we want you to carry the message to the rest of the world that Ghana, and for that matter, ECOWAS, is more than ready to do business with the rest of the world.
At the beginning, Ghana in particular, for this occasion, a number of reasons. For example, we have the AfCFTA Secretariat here. So we know Ghana is very strong on regional trade integration. Ghana is also part of, if we look at talking about trade and transport, part of a very key corridor, the Abidjan-Lagos corridor. So Ghana itself is, I think, a very good location at this current context. And also Ghana was willing to host this meeting. So a number of reasons amongst them, and we're very grateful to Ghana for hosting this particular session. In terms of the other questions, I think the issue on South Africa goes broader and beyond trade issues. We are very much aware and keeping up to date with the issues that are being raised by citizens in South Africa, issues related to job employment and creating economic benefits for their people. So the lessons we are drawing in West Africa is that we need to also accelerate the opportunities for our youth and women in particular. In West Africa, as in many African countries, we have a very wide, or should I say, large population of youth. And if we do not engage them effectively, then that could also cause social disruption. So the lessons we are drawing from that is, what can we do to ensure that we really provide economic benefits for women and youth in particular, but for all citizens in West Africa. Ministers are here not just to make grand proclamations, but also to ensure decisions they take do have immediate effect. Part of the discussions of senior trade officials was that there are ongoing barriers to trade. We do not want to see a regular trader trying to move products across a border facing multiple barriers, maybe irregular fees, maybe burdensome procedures. So ministers will be taking decisions on how to make necessary reforms that will be tracked and presented on a regular basis to make sure we track, for example, the number of days across borders. So performance measures, key performance indicators will be discussed to make sure that the public know that ministers, countries, and the region are taking decisive efforts to reduce these barriers to trade. Within that, as well as the issue of digitalization, we know that really accelerates our processes. Things should be available online. You should be able to sit in the comfort of your home, submit documents, get feedback. That reduces the time and the cost of doing business. So one of the agenda items was on digitalization. How can we ensure these digital platforms exist, make sure the various digital platforms are also interconnected to avoid traders having to provide the same information here, there, and everywhere as well. So these are some of the concrete measures, amongst others, that ministers will be discussing. We have mentioned the issue of the single currency, and I'm going to also give the floor after this to my colleague, Acting Director of Private Sector and Industry, to demonstrate the two-track approach we are taking. Yes, we promote and continue to head towards a single currency, which the date set is 2027. The central banks are working very, very hard at meeting this target set by the heads of state, because we know with the multiple currencies, having to, first of all, change a local currency into international currency, then back into the next local currency, is the time and the cost. Billions of dollars are, should I say, wasted in that transmission. So we are working very hard towards that single currency by 2027. But in parallel, we're also working on payment and settlement systems in our local currency. And on that note, let me yield the floor to the Acting Director of Private Sector and Industry to talk about how we're trying to make our local currencies talk to each other whilst we await that single currency.
But then that feasibility will depend on all member states' capability to take decisions on the perception, because it's a perception issue at the moment. Removing the perception that floating a single currency might create contagion somewhere. But that's why we are also looking at the second track to facilitating payments. It's all about reducing the cost of trade, facilitating payments for goods and services, and their settlement as well. And ECOWAS is advanced today in the implementation of the ECOWAS payments and settlement systems, which appears to be delayed. But when I look at the framework of payment systems operation in the whole of the African continent, ECOWAS appears to be advanced, because ECOWAS is considering the fundamental issues to facilitate payments. All right. Today, ECOWAS has established that it is possible for all the currencies which are the sovereign, images of our member state to shake hands. If you could convert CD to dollar, it means that when you triangulate it, there's also a relative value between the dollar and the naira, and CD and the naira. And today we're talking about digitalization of payments. Okay, it means that we can also digitalize these currencies. As far as I'm concerned, they're commodities, right? And when you digitalize them, it means that they can be settled in local currencies speaking to themselves. So we're creating a payment area. What is a payment area? It's an area in which you agree that your payments will be made and settled within this region. Okay, and it's a matter of putting technologies in place. Where we are today is that we are trying to identify the appropriate technology. You say, yes, perhaps it's already working, but given that ECOWAS is a regional economic community, the system we're looking for is beyond facilitating payment to coordinating monetary policies as well, and that eliminates the fear that contagion effect will happen. So it is expected that in 2027, 2028, we would have concluded work on this. And what happens in that payment area? Already payments are crossing borders, but at very costly rates, right? The charges that you bear on just paying, say, through an enterprise system, say through a bank system, it's so enormous that when you make that payment, sometimes you develop some hurdles. ECOWAS is trying to bring down that cost by coordinating all this payment infrastructure, making them interoperable. That means that if you go to one bank to transfer money, you not only go through this channel to the other country, but you can go through all the channels going through a coordinated platform, the instant payment system and the real-time gross payments and settlement system of the settlement bank in member states. One of the things we need to agree on, and it's likely that ministers of trade may talk to it, but the issue of agreeing on these matters lie with the central bank governors. All right, is that we need to we need to select one of our central banks if we don't want that to, if we feel that floating a regional central bank is another level of work to be done, then we need to take up one of the existing central banks. They all have the capacity to make these things happen. So this is it. I think the other question I want to address is Ghana subscribing or opening up to ECOWAS and to AfCFTA means that Ghana is open for business. What it means is today you have better market access to the continental market and the global market than those who are posing barriers to the entry of products. What that means is that you're able to create job, add value, all right, and then create trade for the country. Thank you.